The following is a presentation of TFNN. The following is a presentation. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another great episode of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach do we go, dear friends. And as we start off the day, we're at 23.40.50, off 3.5 points on the S&P cash. My guess is that we're going to slightly continue to move higher. We'll probably have a ton of shorts in this market. Probably a lot more people shorting before the end of the day. And it's one of those seasonal things. I just don't think it's the right thing to do. And why? We're coming into fund buying, and preliminarily, the numbers look pretty good. So at worst, I'd say we go sideways. At best, maybe a nice short squeeze. And, of course, that squeeze will tell us whether or not the last few days of the pullback were something bigger or just a hiccup along the way of our market travels. Well, as always, we like to come to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Okay. Where are they at? Nope, nothing. Okay. Down, not on their horse today. Anyway, what else do we have going on? Volume is tepid. It's been tepid in this pullback. Just 1.96 billion shares as we start the show today. So not much going on there either. So don't know what else to say about that, but at least the low of the day was 23.22 on the S&P cash. Looks like it's kind of come in. I suspect that we could probably bounce to 23.60 before we have yet another jump of people wanting to reshort this market. It's very tough for me to see that everybody keeps blaming political issues for the high side and the low sides in this market. And I think it has a lot to do with other things that people aren't talking about. But I do digress. I'm going to win that digressing award this year if it kills me. Anyway, in the meantime, we always like to start off with a little bit of history.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
It is. And, well, I was going to bring this up earlier. I guess I'll bring it up in a minute. In 1980 on this day, Texas oil barons Nelson Bunker Hunt and W. Herbert Hunt. One was W must have been Bucky because Nelson owned the Chiefs. So Herbert must have been Bunky. Fails spectacularly to corner the market in silver. After the brothers drive the price up, new supplies come flooding into the market, catching the Hunts by surprise. In a single day, silver plunges from $21.62 to $10.80 an ounce. And Bocce, Halsey, Stewart Shields, the stock brokerage firm affiliated with the Hunts, nearly goes bankrupt. I think they had to sell out a few years after that. But what did we have? What you don't want to do is become the market. And, of course, being a cornerer of the market does tend to put you in a position to where your trade is going to be binary. You're either broke or very rich. If you're rich, they'll probably come after you for forming a monopoly and trying to corner the market and all the things. Really hasn't happened since 1980. There are a lot more commodities laws that limit the amount that people like Bucky and his brother can put on the market. I just remember going to a church on Sunday, and of course after Sunday everybody went out to eat, and both of these gentlemen, both brothers, like to go to the same place that we ate before the late games if they started at 3. And I would see them in more than a few times eating down there about 63rd and Troost at this little big buffet that's kind of well known in the city. Never talked to him or saw him, but I always saw him. One owned the football team, and the other one, well, it was unclear. Just that he was his brother at the time. Of course, I didn't know anything about silver or any of this stuff at the time, but kind of interesting. My brush with famous folk on this day in 1980, as you find out that some people try to corner the market, and they corner themselves. What else is going on out there? Oh, we were going to talk about this. Was talking earlier in the day to one of my subscribers in the den. And as soon as I saw this on the Drudge Report, stocks turn ugly for the masthead with the little flashing red light. I said, well, what happens every time we see these kinds of end of the world things? Well, you know what? What do you get? You normally get a bounce. At least a bounce. So it's always nice to have your eyes and ears open out there. There wasn't a lot of news in the markets themselves, but normally you see the end of the world kind of stuff happening, and probably a good time to think about when everybody's on your side. It's a time to good time to reflect and pause. Is there anything else going on? Not really in the news. Pretty quiet day out here, so we'll get to charts earlier. You can, of course, give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. And what else do we have going on out here? I think that's it. What else do we have? Okay. Well, let's start looking at some charts. Waiting for your phone call with bated breath. I put a worm on my tongue. Just for you. Some of the energy stocks kind of interesting. It's certainly interesting the way that the markets are kind of working. Push down on crude. It's still off 34 cents. We had gold pushed to 1262. It's at 1255.20 on my last tick here. Up $6. But to me, both of these and their movements kind of a little different. Down 60 cents on the dollar index. Although we were down much farther earlier in the day. We got down to about 965 or 98.65. So we got a kind of a nice bounce, pretty much at I don't know, about market open, something like that. The dollar started to strengthen a little bit, and you start looking at some of these other ones. I know a lot of people spend a lot of time looking at gold, so I was kind of more looking at the energy stocks today, and started to see some of these things totally fill these big signs of strength in some of the energy stocks. Halliburton, HAL, nice little gap up on the 30th of November. Did so on 32.2 million shares. Back in and filled the gap pretty much to the penny on about 8 million shares so far. So figure 10, 12 million shares compared to that 33 million share gap back up in November. So you've gone up with a sign of strength. You've come back with a little lighter volume. I would have liked to see a little bit more lighter volume out there. Still pretty good. Anyway, we'll be back on the opposite side. Hey, great day to call me at 877-927-6648.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Thinkorswim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
As we said, I wouldn't be, well, we've got a little pop down here, down 7 points on the S&P cash. I wouldn't get too excited about seeing lower prices in the next few days. Of course, the last 2 days of the month and the first three, or the last three and first two, depending on which fund you're looking at, has to be 100% invested. So basically, we're looking at a couple of days before we see fund buying. And of course, that fund buying will take us into the first couple of days of next week. So, normally you don't see, you get 3 or 4 days where at worst the markets stay sideways, and at best, if you're short, they squeeze you out. In fact, we saw a few squeezes already start. We talked about just how many shares of Snap are shorted. This thing got down to 1890, up to 2440 today. And again, this thing is, for the float outside of it, has just a monster amount of short. So I would say that if you're playing this thing, what you want to be doing is playing it intraday long. I don't know how it's going to trade long term, but on up days, it's going to be hard to not see that this isn't an easy way to push people out of the stock. There was a premium of somewhere between 20 and 22% at one point to get shares short of Snap. And of course, everybody's still short those. Let's take a look at some of the other stocks that gapped down and what happened to them today. Alcoa had gotten down to this gap. I was looking at it on Friday. Pretty nice light volume. This gap comes right around 32.50. Got down to it very light on Friday. Was going to look at buying it this morning, but I wanted to see how it came in. Actually, looks fairly decent. Got a double gap right at that 32.50 mark. Gap down this morning, pretty much reversed. Got down to 31.29 and back into this. I'd probably want to see one more day of confirmation on this before I would pull the trigger. But not a bad looking chart. The thing is that if you slip here, your next move down takes you to $28. But I think you're going to have some fairly decent support at this 32.50 level. Not a bad place to take a shot at. One of the other stocks that I was looking at that got kind of creamed this morning still may have a little bit more to go, even though the volume's light. This one has a gap between just a little over $6 and $6.60. That gap and sign of strength go back to the 9th of November with 48 million shares. Got about 13 million shares today. If this thing could get down maybe another 30, 40 cents, maybe the low $6 range, this would look very interesting. Really like the way that the energy has come off in this ABC down, especially the energy from the February 21st low into today's low. So some of these metals look like they may be rather interesting. Other stocks that gap down but have kind of come back are Bank of America. This one came down. Not a lot of juice so far, but man, this thing had a nice consolidation run from about the 7th of December all the way through the 9th of February on a nice sideways ran to 25.80 and now is pulled back. What's the lowest on that? December 29th, they saw a low of 21.77. So you maybe have another 20, 30 to go on the downside out here. But if you were thinking that anything comes back on the taxes and, of course, raising interest rates, and you wanted to be in the financials, doesn't look all that bad. BBT, kind of something similar. This thing had its big sign of strength back on the 9th of November with almost 11 million shares. Now, this one had a pretty bad hair day, down on almost 9 million shares on the 21st. And, you got kind of a light volume move out here, 4.1 million shares today. You're in some kind of consolidation. You might make it down to $41, though. So I don't see a buy on that one just yet. What else do we have? Bank of Mellon, same thing. This one could get to 43.85. Energy a little bit more than you would like. Caterpillar, of course, this one came off after the FBI raided it. Never a good sign. But back into the sign of strength on November 9th, almost 20 million shares, and you got about 9 million back on the 9th of this month. But today, just 2.3 million shares. Not a lot of people run into the exits on that one. In fact, the whole market, at least unless something vastly changes, we only have about 2 billion shares now on the NYSE consolidated tape. Citizens Financial Group. This one's back down to its gap up. And CFG, and couldn't say there's a lot of volume in that one either. EOG Resources back to the energy play. This one's a lot of natural gas, but not a bad looking chart. Huge sign of strength on the 30th of November. Went up, came back, and does exactly what you want it to do, which is comes back on kind of light volume, fills that gap on March 14th with 5 million shares. Compared to that 10 million shares, we're back in there today with just 1.6 million shares. If you're into natural gas, it kind of looks kind of interesting. ETFC, it's a symbol, which is E-Trade Financial, dipping below its high volume low, and looks like it closed back above it. That's the February 2nd low at $33.33, had 16.4 million shares. Today, we got 1.5 million shares. It dipped below that, and I think we could see a close back above it, which puts this thing back in a trading range up to $38.61. What else do we have? Freeport McMoran. And this kind of gap down. Nothing on it, though. You're basically filled a gap. Down, volumes picked up compared to the 2 doji days before it. Again, kind of why I've stayed away from the other metals that I was looking at on Friday. Didn't like those dojis in some of these metals like Freeport McMoran. Of course, it's copper and gold and a little off. But what else can you say? Fitbit, of course, last week was hitting new lows. New Fitbit. What does that say? Fifth Third Bank. Excuse me. I was thinking of Fitbit. It's kind of come down. Not much volume out here. This is going back into the signs of strength that had 10, 11 million shares on the way up. We got 3 million shares on the way down. Fifth Third Bank. If you've never been in Cincinnati, since I lived there, there was a bank on 5th Street and there was a bank on 3rd Street, and it was the 3rd Street Bank and the 5th Street Bank, and they merged. So there isn't a Fifth Third. I thought it should have been a Third Fifth, but Fifth Third Bank, the combination of banks on 3rd and 5th. We'll be back.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And if Mike from Toronto wants to call back, I guess we dropped him. Please do so. We'll take a look at some other stocks out here. Goldman Sachs, the Goldman Sachs. And now this is a little different out here. You had some juice on the way down. Not only that, but you had a February 2nd low with 5 million shares at 227. That got blown away on Friday with 6.4 million shares. Today you already have 7.2 million shares. So this looks a little bit more out there flapping in the breeze, as it were. Morgan Stanley, same kind of thing. Not a lot to hang your hat on other than this one looks better than Goldman Sachs. You still had 16 million shares down on the 21st, and you got 18 million shares today. Support should start coming in this sign of strength, which is at about 38, 39 bucks. I'm probably figuring this thing hits the top of the candle from November 11th, which is 23 million shares, and the price is 37.34. No, that's the low. The high is 38.75. Excuse me. That's probably where support will come in on the MS. NUE, which is Nucor, can't see a lot in that. QEP. Now this one, QEP Resources, a lot of these had gaps in these resource companies, and we're coming back. This one had a double gap that goes back to the 11th of March 2016, so over a year ago, just over a year ago. And, was it a huge volume day or anything? No. You had some huge volume tests that never got retested out here. But the energy off this December 12th high, $21.12, came back on fairly lighter volume. I would still think, though, that you'd want to see that low at 8.54 retested the January 20th before you played that. Rio Tinto, another one that gapped down. So what did we get on this one? Volume fairly decent. You wanted less than 5.25 million shares. Today you got 4 million shares already. So this one's not looking all that whoopy. Again, you've got a real nice consolidation range that runs from November 9th all the way to where this thing did gap up on the 10th of January. Did so with 5.7 million shares. Went back into it on March 10th with just a little less than that to 39.06 to fill that gap. Bounced, and now it's come back. But again, volume probably going to be enough and bigger than that gap down from back in, the 10th of January. So some of these not looking all that good. Other long-term that are kind of interesting. To me, there's a nice gap in Superior Energy Services. SPN is the symbol on this one. Okay, and you're back here, fairly light volume so far. Don't like the way the energy came off on this one from December 12th. So keep an eye on that. STI, SunTrust Banks, Florida Bank, down. This one had a gap that looks like it's trying to work its way down into, but a nice sign of strength that we're into today. That goes back to the 14th of December, up and a nice move on 8.5 million shares. Today, we're back into that same candle with 2.5 million shares. So you kind of have to watch what's going on in these, but not everything got volume. Another financial out here that's coming into a big sign of strength. You had 4 candles straight up. That goes from the 9th of November, the 10th of November, the 11th of November, and the 14th. So apparently a weekend break. This thing went straight up, never really came back down, but the energy was pretty good most of those days. 16.5, 12 million shares, 11, 12 million shares. Back into those candles today, you may have a little bit more. This thing's only turning about 5 million shares right now into that big sign of strength that we go back to that second week of November. So keep an eye on that. TNA, the small cap bull shares. I know a lot of traders play these inside. This one had kind of a nice little move up on the 5th of December. That left a gap with the 3.9 million shares. Today, already 3.4 million shares, but never really came in and touched that gap. You might get another whack at it. And, of course, for other financials out here, we've got Wells Fargo. This one came down, almost touched its low, went to kind of a small sign of strength that had 33 million shares. So you kind of got that. So anyway, 33 million shares, 11.8 million shares. This is on Wells Fargo. So far, most of the financials don't look all that bad except Goldman Sachs. The energies kind of look kind of interesting. But the more traditional, as we said, the Alcoa, a little better than the rest out here, fairly light volume. AK Steel may have one more day down out here, but kind of like the light volume. So that is interesting. And anyway, those were all the gap downs for the day. Let's take a look and see. Do we get any gap ups at all? I think we had some. Where's my gap up? Gap up. There we are. ABX. See how this one did. Gapped up. More of a doji out here today, though. Fairly light volume for the dollar falling as hard as it did. For the way that most of the other stocks sold off. I was thinking you might get a little bit more than what ABX gave today. AU, kind of the same pattern. It's got a double gap out here at $12 and let's call it $12.25 to $12.50. My guess is that this stock probably wants to get to that double gap at the $12.10 to $12.50 range. So that one may be a little stronger than the others. Brookdale Senior Living, nothing much in that one. Not much in that one. Gold Corp, a nice pop up on this and gap. But again, 5.4 million shares. And man, you probably should have seen something more in the way of 10 or 11 million shares today. And that we got about 5.4 seems rather interesting. NEM out here. Again, kind of a light volume day, 3 million shares, just under. He had 5 million shares a few days ago, 5.4. You're back into this candle that had a huge down day with 4.5 million shares from the 27th of February. So you're back in there. Volume is not all that exciting. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with gold, but man, you got to have thought that this was going to be a plus 30 day or plus $30 day in gold, and you didn't get it. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. Kind of interesting. We'll be back. Give me a call, 877-927-6648, especially Mike in Toronto.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock in option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're looking to unearth a new financial resource and diversify your financial portfolio, consider the new Market Safe Core Commodity CD from Everbank. This 5-year U.S. dollar-denominated CD gives you exposure to 4 equally weighted commodities: gold, copper, WTI oil, and sugar, in one powerful CD. With no pricing caps, you can potentially earn an unlimited upside payment at maturity if the commodities increase in value across semi-annual pricing dates. And should the opposite occur, your principal is 100% protected. Keep in mind, returns are based on CD performance. There's no annual percentage percentage yield or periodic rate of interest on this index CD. Don't miss out. With certain commodities on the rebound, now is the time to take advantage. The March 23rd funding deadline will be here before you know it. So call 1-855-750-4051 or visit everbank.com/TFNN for the CD's term sheet and other important product details and disclosures. Once more, that's 1-855-750-4051 or visit everbank.com/TFNN. This advertisement is sponsored content. Everbank is a member FDIC.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And we're back to look at silver wheaton. A little light volume pop out on this one today. See how the volume comes in. But again, man, you'd think these things were ready to take off, and they didn't. And you got to figure out. A lot of people earlier in the day talking about the strength of the IBB, at least in the Tiger's Den. It was kind of interesting to see that this was one sector that was never it sold off kind of early in the day and then came back a little. But I think by 10 o'clock, it was back to being positive on the day, probably driving a lot of people nuts. Tenet Healthcare had a nice spike up early in the day, gave most of it back out here. You've got 7.5 million shares today. Not a lot out here. Could this be an ABC down? It could. You certainly don't like that candle the way it came out. WFT, which is Weatherford International, a little gap up on this one too. Not much volume, a big doji on that one. Let's take a look at Apple. Taiwan Semiconductor got confirmed an order for 50 million new processors. So for the first run of the Apple. So it gives you an idea at least what Apple thinks that they're going to sell for the new A11 chip in theirs. This thing's just going sideways. I don't see a lot out here. 17 million shares today. You had 39 million shares back on the 21st. I don't see anything that says this thing's out of this consolidation range, which really kind of started about the 2nd of March out here, and it's gone on. You got up to 142.80, but light and variable trading, some volume, but not a lot out there. And again, $260 billion, $268 billion, kind of rough to see what else was going on. Microsoft, a little lower, a little higher, nothing to see. That one. Take a quick look at Facebook, and just sideways on that. Not a lot of juice either. Amazon, a little lower open. Not much volume though. Let's see. Google. This one's getting smacked pretty hard in the press over the last few days. And kind of interesting to see this one turn around, but again on fairly light volume, just 1.4 million shares so far in the day. So let's take a look at some other stocks. Percentage advancers real quick, see if there's anything out here. As again, Acadia Healthcare some of these healthcare stocks kind of doing a little bit better on the heels of the political events of Friday. I guess, everybody says the stock should do one thing because there's something happening out there, and it seems like a lot of people don't listen to them. This one, nice bounce on Friday, nice continuation bounce out here, although it gave a lot more back to it. AKRX banging away, Acorn banging away at the 23.42 and 23.71 previous highs. You also had a nice pop with some juice back on the 3rd up to 24.15. You spiked that today. And you might even have the volume, although it's kind of given and come off a little bit on that one. Yeah, something going on there in silver and gold. Brookdale, I think we did that one. HCA. This one spiked, and it's got volume. So you do have a breakout today in HCA Holdings. Last high was $88.62, 2.6 million shares. You got 7 million shares today. It's going to close above that. It's into the 90s, and that gives you probably $100 on that one. Shield, which is Sears Holdings. Again, just the perpetual short squeezes on this are almost laughable. Nice little pop-up on this one with 1.4 million shares compared to 1.38 million shares back on March 13th. But again, this is just the constant cycling of shorts in and out of this. THC, which is Tenet Healthcare, a nice little thing, but this one gave way too much back. UHS, which is Universal Healthcare Systems, another one with a big move up today. A little bit more juice out here, not attacking any recent highs, but it didn't have that much farther to go. Take a look at that one tomorrow. Credit Suisse, a nice little pop-up on this, and at least volume that's fairly decent, although you're into this candle that came down on the 2nd of March with 3.1 million shares with this 1.5 million shares today. So it'll be interesting to see how that one closes. And ZIOP, which is Ziopharm Pharmaceuticals, a nice bounce on this one. Good sign of strength. I don't think there's anything else you can say about it other than that. Let's take a look at some of my other scans. Take a look at VeriSign. I was watching this one on light volume attack the 86.98 high of October 28th last year. 86.89, 2.2 million shares. Got into it with just 1.3 million shares on Friday. Did close lower or open lower today, gap lower, but you don't have any juice out here today, just 200,000 shares. And so even though a lot of these not hitting these highs on higher volume, not really giving you a lot of faith that everything is going to roll over and die. 13 million shares in Skechers on February 10th. We've hit that on Friday with 3.5 million shares, 1.4 million shares today. So certainly back into resistance, but no general failure today on that one either. EWH, which is the Hong Kong Index Fund. This thing has been going up against fairly recent highs. This $22 range has been resistance over a number of years. October 10th, 22.32 in the Hong Kong Index Fund with 5 million shares. A few days ago, you had 3.2 million shares. Down today, though, on just 1 million shares. And if we look at when, I blinked for a second, and the buy on this one was gone today. This one has been a rocket. It's been the first thing people want to buy in the morning and the last thing they want to buy at night for the last week or so. And I don't know what else you can say about it other than now this thing's into some very, very long-term resistance levels. When it did gap down on the 29th of April last year on 16 million shares, you got into it with 1 million shares today. There's just not a lot of juice. Now, there is a double gap that hits right at 120, and I suspect that's where this thing is going. But we shall see. Anyway, give me a call at 877-927-6648. I love to have your phone calls today. And email me at path@tfnn.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com. Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we'll look at a few other stocks out here. I wanted to look at PBR. And that's not Pabst Blue Ribbon. This is Petrobras. Wanted to see how some of these other energy companies had come into the lows. Now, this one, is it the most beautiful chart in the market? No, but kind of interesting and telling. November 14th, $9.14, 48 million shares. We broke through that, and it looks like we're going to close back above that today. A close above $9.14 would be at least the end of the downside, probably, for Petrobras. I don't like the energy on the way down. I don't like the fact that this stock is in Brazil. But you know what? At this point, I just don't see a lot of downside in it anymore. In fact, probably the only good things that are going on right now is that Russia's out of money. and may have problems actually getting together the cash to pump oil. So you might see a little bit going on in there. Venezuela doesn't have any money. So there are chances of, maybe Russia running out of cash yet again, a la 1990. Certainly some of the other countries out there with huge strife like Venezuela might put a put underneath and be the PBR put on a lot of these. Let's take at some other stocks of interest. Let's see what else is going on out here. Let's see. Let's take a look at the TLT. We were thinking that this would get up to this gap, which it did today, and totally, popped up and filled it. This gap goes back to the 1st of March when this gap down with 10.7 million shares. Now, what you have today is a gap up with 5 million shares and given a little bit of this back. So probably all the easy money in the TLT is over. As we stated before, this had a nice low volume test of the 116.80 low from December 16th. That had 16 million shares. You only came into that, went below it with 10.5 million shares, closed back above it. That was the buy signal. I'd be a little bit more bullish on this if the energy from that January 12th high was a little less, but it was not. Nice pop today, giving a little bit of it back. Not a lot of juice in the move up. Kind of makes me scratch my head about like the way gold and silver, platinum's up $1.90. But even copper out there being kind of flat today. Thought maybe on this bounce we might see a little bit more out of copper, at least in the indexes. As we go to close up the day, let's take a look at these volumes. At 2340 on the S&P cash, so that's a little less than 4 points off the S&P cash. If you would have looked at the market at 940, probably would have been a little surprised out here. 2.24 billion shares, which is light. Friday we had we were probably about, I'm going to say 600 to 800 million shares light on the volume there. So we've had kind of some light volume pushes down. Not surprised that we get a push up. Now this is where I would start getting worried in the marketplace if we move up for basically fund buying and there's no volume. We get back up to 2365 or 2370. Kind of my targets up there. If we get up there and there's no juice, nobody coming in and buying, that might set up some kind of a shortable position that's a little longer. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.